Hello, I'm James Ezimoha. Welcome to Africa News, where we bring you the latest updates from across the African continent. Let's see your headlines. Residents in eastern Congo say there's little to celebrate as the country marks its Independence Day. Zimbabwean students hoping to study abroad hit by tight US and UK visa restrictions. Never apologize for your story, Nigerian writer and author Chimamanda Adichie tells African writers. As Congo marks 65 years since independence from Belgium, there's little celebration in the country's war-torn east. In the town of Adichie, residents say they feel abandoned by their own leaders and dominated by foreign interests. For them, independence remains a dream, not a reality.
Independence Day brought no joy in eastern Congo's Adichie, where displaced residents live under the constant shadow of conflict. Rebel forces, backed by Rwanda, still control major cities like Goma and Bukavu, despite a recent peace agreement signed with US mediation. The deal, signed on June 27th, promises Rwandan troop withdrawal and regional economic ties. But residents say these international efforts haven't brought real change.
What
we're living through today is not what one would call independence. To manage our minerals and natural resources, we have to call on the United States, we have to call on Qatar, we have to call on foreign powers. That means that economically, we are not independent. We are independent only in name, because sometimes the West even imposes leaders on us who come to govern us here in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
This country doesn't have independence. We don't have peace. But the day we will have peace, that's when we will see this country truly free. That's what we are asking for, that peace returns to North Kivu so that everyone can return to where they came from. That's what we are asking for.
Today, the difference we see, it's not just about one group. Foreign soldiers are arriving here, different kinds of soldiers. But we don't see any changes from those soldiers who say they are coming to help us. The talk of war continues.
As foreign troops and rebel fighters continue to shape life in eastern Congo, many citizens say true independence remains elusive. For those displaced by war, peace and sovereignty are promises still waiting to be fulfilled.
There's cautious optimism at the United Nations after Congo and Rwanda signed a peace deal aimed at ending deadly clashes in the east. The UN mission says it stands ready to support the process, but deep concerns remain about rebel control and foreign troop presence. Here's the latest from the Security Council.
The UN mission in Congo, known as MONUSCO, has praised a new peace agreement between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, calling it a step toward ending the M23 rebellion. The deal, brokered by the US and signed on June 27th, aims to wind down a conflict that has displaced hundreds of thousands this year. But while the agreement proposes joint security coordination and rebel neutralization, there are fears of continued aggression. UN officials say sustained political will is key to ending the violence in Congo's east.
I am encouraged by progress made to reach a political solution to the recurring cycles of conflict in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. MONUSCO continues to stand ready to support these efforts, sustained by the decision and the will of this Council.
This development is a major accomplishment. It supports African-led processes and represents an historic step towards securing a durable peace in Eastern DRC and creating the conditions for economic development for the benefit of the people in the region.
Rwanda's representative called on the UN to support a new joint security mechanism laid out in the deal.
While there is still some way to go, the path to lasting peace in the Great Lakes region is clearer now than it has ever been before. An important part of today's agreement is the provision for the parties to form a standing joint security coordination mechanism whose first order of business will be to oversee the implementation of the concept of operations for the neutralization of FDLR and the lifting of Rwanda's defensive measures as approved under the Rwanda process in November last year.
The agreement opens the door for coordinated peace building, but its success hinges on trust between neighbours long locked in rivalry. As the M23 crisis continues to destabilise the region, many in eastern Congo are watching to see if words will finally translate into peace on the ground.
Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo have signed a major peace deal aimed at ending months of deadly fighting in the east, brokered by the United States. The agreement outlines steps for troop withdrawals and future investment, but on the ground, people remain cautious, waiting to see if the promises bring real change.
The FDLR and this engagement.
At a ceremony in Washington, foreign ministers from Rwanda and Congo signed a US-brokered peace agreement, pledging to enforce a 2024 deal that calls for Rwandan troops to leave eastern Congo within 90 days. The agreement aims to end violence that has killed thousands this year and displaced hundreds of thousands, while unlocking Western investment in Congo's mineral-rich east. But in cities like Bukavu, where gunfire and insecurity remain a part of daily life, residents say their support hinges on whether peace actually returns.
We are very happy to see that an agreement has been signed today to bring peace to Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo and the DRC in general. That is why we hope and we say that this brings us peace. We want to see peace. We want to live in peace. We don't want any more insecurity, war, or killings after this signing.
After this signing, I just want peace, nothing but peace, because now it's 8 p.m. and we are already feeling insecure. We don't know where to go, because if there are gunshots now, everyone will flee in different directions.
While the peace deal signals diplomatic progress, many in eastern Congo say the real test will come in the next 90 days. For communities scarred by war, peace remains more than a signature. It's the return of safety, stability, and trust.
Zimbabwe's brightest students are finding fewer chances to study abroad as countries like the US and UK tighten visa restrictions. At the same time, competition for local university spots is fiercer than ever. It's forcing many to rethink their futures and settle for less than they hoped for.
Some local universities don't.
Thousands of Zimbabwean students graduate every year hoping to pursue university degrees. But with only 16 local universities and tightening visa policies abroad, many are caught in limbo. Foreign degrees still carry prestige, but education experts warn that this mindset leaves Zimbabwe's youth disillusioned and underprepared in a shifting global economy.
External universities have got lower grades that they accept, and they can take even lower grades than what we do here, and that may attract even some of our learners. That's one area of universities. The second one is obviously an issue of a mindset from the learners themselves. Learners will believe that the best education is always abroad, and therefore, if I come back home with a certificate in engineering from so-and-so university abroad, then I look more educated than the person who has acquired an engineering degree locally.
As global study paths close and local systems strain, Zimbabwe's education challenge is now twofold: changing perceptions about the value of local degrees and reforming institutions to meet the promise of a modern workforce.
Nigerian icon, writer and author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is back home and drawing crowds. The Lagos stop of her Dream Count book tour saw hundreds gather for an emotional evening of storytelling, reflection and celebration. Adichie's message to African writers: own your voice and never apologize for your story.
Renowned Nigerian novelist Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie returned to Lagos over the weekend as part of her homecoming tour for her latest novel, Dream Count. The book, released in March, is her first since losing both parents and centres on 4 African women navigating memory, love and justice. Speaking to a packed audience, Adichie said grief had reshaped her identity and that writing became a way to survive. She added that writers should focus on their craft and never dilute their voices to please others.
Many people talk about wanting to write, and they don't actually write. So write, do the work. But the second thing is, don't apologize for your story. Don't think that you have to change your story or make it easier for anybody. Your only responsibility is to tell the story well. If you tell it well, readers will understand it. Always remember that our story is worth it. You know, African stories are just as important as stories from anywhere else. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever apologize for being an African, for telling African stories.
Michael Deelen, Consul General of the Kingdom of Netherlands in Lagos, says he has long admired Adichie's work.
I received her first book, or at least the book in 2003, I remember, Purple Hibiscus, when I was living in Abuja, from a good friend of mine. And ever since, I've been following her career. So I'm very, very happy that I'm here now to meet her in person. I haven't met her before.
Nigerian writers say Adichie's literary influence and cultural honesty is a breath of fresh air.
I liked how she writes. I was kind of caught with her use of words, and also her deep love for culture, and also a fine need to tell the truth even when it's in fiction form.
Adichie's Dream Count tour now heads to Abuja and Enugu, reconnecting the author with the people and places that shaped her voice. As she inspires a new generation of storytellers, her message remains clear. African stories matter, and they deserve to be told unapologetically.
Well, that's all we have today in African News. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to A News.